It's been 20 years since my sister's been murdered, and we still don't know who did it.
I spent 17 years in a prison of my own making because of my fear of what would happen if I came forward.
I'm at Monroe State Correctional Facility, and I'm sentenced to 38 years for aggravated murder.
My brother and I were on our way over there. We seen the police car lights, and we dropped everything that we had and we bolted to her house, and she was murdered.
Made me a bedroll that night and laid down to go to sleep. And sometime during that night, I was woken by 3 young men beating me up. I pulled a weapon from onto my bedroll. Once I got up, I fired.
I went to do a collection, make some money, get some dope, and it turned into a homicide where I pulled the trigger.
Well, I didn't deal with it too well. To be truthful, I dealt with it with drugs, alcohol, and which wasn't good, but it numbed the pain.
Emotionally, I dealt with it the same way I have dealt with most adversities in my life. I tried to hide them.
I remember pulling the trigger and my victim screaming because the shot went wide. And I remember just going numb. I remember thinking, shut up, just shut up. And the second shot that was delivered, it made that happen. I immediately went and got sick.
I kept quiet because of my personal fear. My personal fear was based on selfishness. What was I gain by coming forward? What would I lose by coming forward?
For me, it's fresh every day. It doesn't go away. I don't think I've had a decent night's sleep since my sister's been murdered, to be honest with you. It's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that.
I would have nightmares. I'd wake up and instead of the victim, it would be my girl. Instead of the victim, it would be my best friend.
It disconnected us from the community because we didn't know who did it and who to trust.
You can deal with it for only a short period of time before you're looking for relief. And the only relief I had was in a bottle or a crack pipe.
The cost of that, we just don't have that togetherness anymore. We just don't have that sense of family anymore.
Unless you've ever walked through a murder, unless you've ever shot someone, unless you've ever heard somebody scream, and then they don't know. They don't know. They don't know the consequences that every Christmas, every Thanksgiving, every birthday, that there's one less place set at the table. There's there's memories that will never be made, that you can never go back from that. Never go back from that.
I vividly remember the last 4 words that he spoke, and those was the thing that haunted me for 17 years.
I knew that this was going to result in me spending the rest of my life in prison, if not a death sentence.
I've been working with the case now for a little over a year, so we're close to probably 1,000 man-hours alone just on this case.
I absolutely do believe that there is someone out there who knows what happened to my sister.
Clearly, we need witnesses to come forward and tell us what's occurred. Even if they don't know the victim or they know the suspect, if they saw something that they believe is related to the crime, we need to know what it is.
That makes me feel very angry for the fact that they haven't came forward and said anything. And they may be scared, but for me that's not a good reason to not come forward and say anything about my sister's murder. For that fact, anybody's murder.
When we talk about costs, probably the cost to the community is the greatest cost because so many people are affected when these cases aren't resolved. And what it really costs the community is a huge expense and fear. There are so many people close to the victim that when the crime is unresolved, they're not sure if they're going to be the next person that's going to be a victim. They have no place to turn for really any kind of resolution. All they have is the hope that maybe someday the police are going to be able to close the case.
Yeah, if you guys want to sit, you want to sit. And if you want to come in, we'll close the door. I wanted to let you guys know, before anything comes out, we made an arrest in your sister's case this morning. I wanted you guys to hear from us before you heard it any other time. So,
Oh, wow.
told you I was working hard. I was trying to get this wrapped up. This is going to have a really strong effect on the community because the members of the community that walk around in fear of knowing whether there's somebody out there that could potentially commit a crime like this to them is diminished, and everybody understands that they can walk the streets safe and there's one less person that they have to worry about.
I don't know, there's no words right now that I can even say that expresses how I really feel after 20 years. My sister gets justice. My family gets justice. And we have peace that this person or persons will hopefully never get a chance to hurt again.
I feel happy now. I'm beginning to build a community, which I haven't done before. I don't have these nightmares like I used to. And I'm finding out that you can trust people.
You have to speak up, man. You can't not say anything.
If there are anyone out there who holds a secret and is eating you alive, you need to come forward and talk to someone.
Have the courage to say what needs to be said. Have that courage to step out and say that. It'll save a life.
There are families out there that need to know the truth, whether it's good or bad. They need to know the truth about what happened to their loved
If
one.
I would have had the heart to step away from myself, there would people still be alive today. There would be kids that still had their father around.
The only peace you're gonna have is when you step forward and tell the truth about what it
You
is.
see someone that's being beaten, that's being hurt, that's being ostracized, you got to speak up. You've got to do the right thing, and it takes heart to do that.
Don't let anybody suffer in the way that my family has suffered or anybody's family has suffered with someone being murdered in their family and not knowing what has happened or who did it. Just say something.